And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably
Want to take me down with a hard hit? No problem. I'll answer with points on the scoreboard. That was the message Sophie Cunningham seemed to send after Mystics rookie Kiki Ariafin committed a flagrant foul that could have seriously hurt the Fever's newest addition, as Cunningham responded with an impressive 21-point performance.
This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
The Indiana Fever sent a clear message during a preseason matchup that was far more intense than expected. Last season, questions were often raised about the team's toughness, but this time the Fever showed strong chemistry, resilience, and a willingness to protect one another. Even with Caitlin Clark sidelined by a lingering leg injury, Indiana refused to be intimidated. It felt like the start of a new chapter for the team, with players like Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, and Dawana Bonner showing they are ready to compete with anyone. In this video, we'll cover the key moments from the game, Sophie and the Fever's fiery response, and how the Washington Mystics reacted after the heated incident. If you're backing Indiana, drop Spicy Sophie in the comments and let's get started.
It's the first time we're witnessing this. They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against this basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. The league better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with what we dealt with last year.
For the first time in years, the Indiana Fever had to take the court without Caitlin Clark. Her absence from the preseason opener against the Washington Mystics was significant, marking her first missed game in 5 years, dating back through her entire college career at Iowa and her rookie WNBA season. Head coach Stephanie White decided to rest Clark after she experienced some tightness in her left leg. White emphasized the importance of thinking about the long season ahead, especially with a schedule that includes 4 more games than last year. While the decision was a smart one for Clark's long-term health, it also left the Fever facing a difficult challenge without their biggest star on the floor.
Look, the biggest thing is we got to think long-term. Like, we got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short-term and not long-term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. How she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts. So positive progress is being made, but we can't be short.
The game got off to a rough start for Indiana. The Fever struggled on both ends of the floor and quickly found themselves trailing as the Mystics jumped out to a 24-13 lead in the opening quarter. Missed scoring opportunities and a lack of rhythm on offense made it difficult for Indiana to find any momentum. As the gap grew to 15 points, it looked like the Mystics were in full control, leaving many fans wondering if the outcome had already been decided before the game had a chance to settle in.
Team came out very slow, very lethargic, very stuck in the mud, very dragging ass, didn't have energy to them, didn't have flow to them.
The Washington Mystics came into the game with plenty of energy and confidence, applying pressure from the opening tip and playing with a physical edge. They challenged the Fever early, testing how the team would respond without Caitlin Clark on the court. For much of the first half, the Mystics controlled the action and appeared to have the upper hand, taking advantage of Indiana's struggles and building momentum. As the lead continued to grow, it looked like Washington was on its way to a comfortable victory against a Fever team missing its biggest star.
Stephanie White seemed frustrated. We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play some defense and let's get it together offensively.
As the game continued, an unlikely spark came from the Indiana bench. Lexi Hull brought energy, effort, and intensity the moment she entered the game, helping shift the momentum in Indiana's favor. Her defensive pressure caused problems for Washington all night, as she recorded 4 steals and constantly disrupted their offensive rhythm. Hull also contributed 13 important points, giving the Fever a much-needed boost and helping keep the game within reach when it seemed to be slipping away.
Lexi Hull looked the most confident I've ever seen Lexi Hull look. Lexi Hull looked the most confident I have ever seen Lexi Hull look, putting the ball on the ground, taking it to the rack, shooting threes, middies, turnaround fades. Whether they went in or not, we can get into that another day once the season starts. But the fact that she's confident enough in her game to where she's at least willing to try to do something to make the offense happen, to create points, to create confusion among the defense.
Even after falling behind by a large margin and struggling early, the Fever refused to give up. Instead of letting the absence of their star player become an excuse, they used it as motivation to fight harder. One by one, players began to settle into the game and make important contributions. The team's defensive effort improved, their confidence grew, and the momentum slowly started to shift. What once looked like an overwhelming deficit suddenly became a manageable challenge as Indiana worked its way back into the contest.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, these two players. Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down 15? We cut it to within 3 at half.
How did the Fever stay in the fight without Caitlin Clark? It wasn't because one player stepped in and matched her scoring production. Instead, it was a complete team effort, with several players rising to the occasion, bringing energy, determination, and a competitive mindset. Indiana responded to Washington's physical style by staying focused and continuing to battle on both ends of the floor. As the Fever began to gain momentum in the second quarter, a key moment changed the tone of the game. With just over 5 minutes remaining in the first half, Mystics rookie Kiki Ariafen committed a hard foul on Sophie Cunningham, creating a tense moment that immediately grabbed everyone's attention and added even more intensity to the matchup.
It wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before. This is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you brought
Sophie Cunningham, who arrived in Indiana during the offseason as part of a 4-team trade, was beginning to make a real impact on the game. She had settled into a strong rhythm, contributing on both ends of the floor and helping the Fever chip away at Washington's advantage. Her movement away from the ball, smart positioning, and constant activity were creating challenges for the Mystics' defense. Just as Indiana was building momentum and closing the gap, a heated moment unfolded that quickly became the turning point of the game.
Probably have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
That's Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie right now.
As the two players fought for position on a rebound, the contact quickly escalated when Ariafen grabbed Cunningham and sent her hard to the floor. The play immediately caught everyone's attention, drawing a strong reaction from the crowd. For a brief moment, players from both teams stood stunned by what had happened. Cunningham wasted no time responding, jumping back to her feet and confronting Ariafen face-to-face as tensions on the court suddenly rose.
It's Kiki Ariafen, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
You don't do that. You don't do that. Cunningham shouted as she confronted Ariafen, her reaction clearly visible and audible during the broadcast. Officials immediately stepped in to separate the players and prevent the situation from escalating further. After reviewing the incident, the referees ruled the contact a flagrant 1 foul against Ariafen. While the call resulted in a penalty, many watching felt the play appeared more serious because of the force involved and the potential risk of injury.
Yikes, Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
The physical play involving Cunningham did not end with the earlier incident. Later in the game, another hard collision occurred when Brittany Sykes made contact that sent Cunningham to the floor once again. The repeated confrontations added to the growing tension on the court and drew plenty of attention from players, coaches, and fans. As the game became more heated, many observers felt Cunningham was receiving an unusual amount of physical attention, making her one of the central figures in an increasingly intense and emotional matchup.
Another one right here. This was Brittany Sykes, and DeWanna Bonner got involved in this one. She did. Little standing on business.
The Fever bench reacted immediately, showing a level of unity and support that was not always visible a season ago. Veteran addition DeWanna Bonner stepped in right away after the incident involving Cunningham, making it clear that this team was prepared to stand up for one another. The atmosphere of the game changed from that moment forward. What Washington may have viewed as a physical approach seemed to fuel Indiana instead, bringing the team even closer together and giving them extra motivation. After officials reviewed the plays and handed out the necessary penalties, the game continued, but the momentum had shifted. The Fever played with greater intensity, confidence, and determination. Following the game, Coach Stephanie White praised Cunningham's competitive spirit, describing her as the type of player who never stops fighting and brings energy and toughness to every possession. The Fever bench reacted immediately, showing a level of unity and support that was not always visible a season ago. Veteran addition DeWanna Bonner stepped in right away after the incident involving Cunningham, making it clear that this team was prepared to stand up for one another. The atmosphere of the game changed from that moment forward. What Washington may have viewed as a physical approach seemed to fuel Indiana instead, bringing the team even closer together and giving them extra motivation. After officials reviewed the plays and handed out the necessary penalties, the game continued, but the momentum had shifted. The Fever played with greater intensity, confidence, and determination. Following the game, Coach Stephanie White praised Cunningham's competitive spirit, describing her as the type of player who never stops fighting and brings energy and toughness to every possession.
My God, Sophie's a dog. She just is, she's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an expert.
The big question after those heated moments was what caused the situation to escalate in the first place. Was Washington growing frustrated as its lead started to disappear, or was the physical play simply part of its game plan? Regardless of the reason, the approach had the opposite effect of what many might have expected. Instead of shaking Cunningham's confidence, it seemed to motivate her even more. Rather than creating doubt within the Fever, it brought the team closer together and gave them extra energy. As the game progressed, Indiana played with renewed determination and momentum. Cunningham responded in the best way possible through her performance. After the physical confrontations, she took control, scored 21 points, and played a major role in helping the Fever complete an impressive comeback victory.
Lexi Hull gets a nice steal here, runs down the court, finds Sophie Cunningham, who pumps up the
Drawn on the drive. High arcing pass, it was too high. Hull pulls down the rebound. Here's Cunningham again. Cunningham, coast to coast.
What a first half for Sophie Cunningham.
Oh, yeah. And this is as we've clawed back after being down 15.
Following the hard foul, Cunningham appeared to raise her level of play even further. She looked more focused, more confident, and more determined to make an impact whenever she touched the ball. Her offensive game began clicking from all areas of the court as she knocked down jump shots, attacked the rim, and connected from beyond the arc. No matter how physical the game became, she continued to stay aggressive and kept finding ways to score. Her performance was not only productive, but also highly efficient. Cunningham finished by shooting 6 of 11 from the field, nearly 55%, while converting 7 of her 8 free throw attempts for an outstanding 87.5%. It wasn't just a high-scoring effort, it was a smart, efficient performance that came at a crucial time and helped drive Indiana's comeback.
Sophie Cunningham, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal in 11 minutes off the bench in the first half. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall played a majority of this game for the Indiana Fever. And they played together a majority of the time they were in this game. Sophie Cunningham showed exactly why we brought her in here. We won that trade hands down. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We won the Sophie Cunningham trade.
Cunningham's impact went far beyond scoring. She battled on the glass for 8 rebounds, chased down loose balls, and brought a level of energy that lifted everyone around her. Every hustle play seemed to spark the Fever and keep the momentum moving in their direction. Her effort, toughness, and refusal to back down became a major factor in Indiana's comeback. That relentless approach is exactly why Coach White praised her after the game, calling her a dog, a basketball term reserved for players who compete with non-stop intensity, determination, and heart from start to finish.
Austin looking backdoor and got it to Cunningham.
You guys know what else we're seeing in all these videos? Movement. AB. Up there comes Kelsey around the top. There goes Lexi Hall, back door. Sophie Cunningham, back door. Lexi Hall goes back out to the corner. God forbid, folks, we are seeing things that we haven't seen at all last season.
The Washington Mystics' lead completely disappeared, turning what once looked like a 15-point cushion into a dead-even game that needed overtime to decide it. In the extra period, Cunningham stepped up and took charge when it mattered most, knocking down clutch shots and sinking key free throws under pressure. She stayed calm, confident, and fully in control as the game reached its final moments. The players from the Washington Mystics who had tried to rattle her earlier were left with no answer, forced to watch as she closed out the game and led Indiana to a statement finish.
Sophie Cunningham playing out of this world made me feel good. I saw ball movement on offense, made me feel good. I saw no volleyball passes on, made me feel good. I saw fight from everybody that was on the court at once, there was no 4 versus 5 when it came to fight, heart on the, we weren't lacking that today. We weren't lacking heart at all. And in case people thought this team might be lacking some heart, you got one thing coming to you. You think you're going to be pushing around Sophie Cunningham like that? Don't worry. Sophie, I got this.
Coach White offered strong praise for Cunningham after the game, highlighting how she lifts the entire team the moment she is on the court or even supporting from the sideline. Her communication, energy, and overall presence make her a clear X factor for Indiana. What made the story even more striking was the turnaround in the game's narrative. The player Washington appeared to target early ended up playing a central role in their loss, as the physical approach clearly backfired. Instead of breaking her focus, it seemed to unlock another level in her performance. After the hard foul earlier in the game, Cunningham responded with a standout effort, finishing with a game-high 21 points, 8 rebounds, and delivering key plays in overtime to seal the win. The message coming out of the game was simple and clear.
We have people that aren't going to put up with the nonsense this year. You want to try the Fever? Go ahead and try us. Go ahead and try. 1 through 5. Somebody's going to step up and get in your face. Someone's going to step up and say, you need to relax. Whether it's DeWanna Bonner here or Sophie Cunningham on the bottom of your screen. You mess with this team, we have some people that are going to stand up for themselves and stand up for others.
When the final buzzer sounded at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it represented more than just a preseason victory. It marked a clear sign of change for the Indiana Fever. Compared to last season, when opponents often dictated the physical tone and pushed them around, this version of the team showed a very different identity. The Fever played with confidence, toughness, and a willingness to respond to physical pressure instead of backing away from it, signaling the rise of a more resilient and united group moving forward.
First and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the.
One of the most striking moments came after the final whistle. Instead of the usual post-game handshakes, several Washington Mystics players headed straight to the locker room, skipping the traditional exchange. The contrast was clear after a tense night filled with physical play and heated exchanges. Inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, more than 12,000 fans created a loud, charged atmosphere, reacting strongly to every big defensive stop, made shot, and moment of support between Indiana players after the hard fouls. The crowd played a major role in the energy of the game, something Cunningham later acknowledged by praising the fans as a sixth man, whose support helped drive the Fever's comeback.
You want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gainbridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
This game highlighted a clear transformation in the Indiana Fever's identity. Lexi Hull set the tone defensively with 4 steals, constantly diving for loose balls and cutting off passing lanes to disrupt the Mystics' rhythm. Her energy on defense paired perfectly with Cunningham's strong offensive performance, creating balance on both ends of the floor. Players like Mitchell, Boston, Hull, and Cunningham all contributed to what looked like a team developing a new edge and mentality in real time. The impact of the veteran additions has also been significant, reshaping the team's overall mindset. Players such as Cunningham and Dewana Bonner are not only adding production but also bringing a tougher, more assertive attitude that is influencing the entire roster. That shift was especially visible in moments of confrontation, where Bonner quickly stepped in after the hard foul on Cunningham, a level of response and unity that was not as present in previous seasons.
She was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard, and so I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless, and sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.
Coach White emphasized the basics that helped Indiana secure the win, especially their outstanding performance at the free throw line, where they converted 27 of 28 attempts for an impressive 96.4%. In tight games, those points often decide the outcome, and Indiana made sure they didn't waste those chances. White also praised the team's defensive effort, noting how it helped shift momentum and keep them within reach when it mattered most. She highlighted how the defense gave the Fever multiple opportunities to fight back and ultimately close out the game with confidence.
I liked our aggressiveness. I liked the fact that we picked up, pretty much 94 feet, that they didn't get anything easy. I mean, it's not often that you come out with a win in games where you shoot 30% from the floor. And I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, gave us an opportunity to finish the game.
This wasn't just a win on the scoreboard. It was a clear message from the Indiana Fever. Compared to last season, they no longer look like a team that can be easily pushed around. Instead, they showed toughness, resilience, and strong unity when things got physical. What the Washington Mystics may have intended as intimidation ended up having the opposite effect, bringing the Fever closer together and raising their intensity. Rather than being overwhelmed, Indiana responded with confidence and control, turning a tense matchup into a defining moment in their growth as a team that stands firm under pressure.